Thomson Reuters. I couldn't help it. It's Criminal Justice Administration. 2011 supplement. This is the second book from 2011, identified with Thomas Reuters, or Thomson Reuters. Criminal Justice Administration. See, these are the kind of keys I'm interested in. You understand? These are the kind of keys I'm interested in. I purchased this with my own money. I worked. I did. They actually paid me. Even if you have a employment labor dispute, they're obligated to pay you your wages, and then you are entitled to pursue redress. It's not a workers' comp claim. But in the meantime, they paid me, and I did what I had intended to do. Criminal Justice Administration, 2011 supplement. What do you think we'll get? Hmm? Hmm? Justice Ginsburg, with whom Justice Souter joins, dissenting. Page 119. In Terry versus Ohio, 392 U.S. 188 SCT 1868 20 LED 2D 889 1968. The court upheld the stop and subsequent frisk of an individual based on an officer's observation of suspicious behavior and his reasonable belief that the suspect was armed. In a Terry-type investigatory stop, the officer's action must be justified at its inception and reasonably related in scope to the circumstances which justified the interference in the first place. In applying Terry, the court has several times indicated that the limitation on scope is not confined to the duration of the seizure. It also encompasses the manner in which the seizure is conducted. A routine traffic stop, the court has observed, is a relatively brief encounter and is more analogous to a so-called Terry stop than to a formal arrest. I would apply Terry's reasonable relation test to determine whether the canine sniff impermissibly expanded the scope of the initially valid seizure of Cavalier. It is hardly dispositive that the dog sniff in this case may not have lengthened the duration of the stop. Terry, it merits repetition, instructs that any investigation must be reasonably related in scope to the circumstances which justified the interference in the first place. Emphasis added. The unwarranted and non-consensual expansion of the seizure here from a routine traffic stop to a drug investigation broadened the scope of the investigation in a manner that, in my judgment, runs afoul of the Fourth Amendment. Dog sniffs that detect only the possession of contraband may be employed without offense to the Fourth Amendment, the court reasons, because they reveal no lawful activity and hence disturb no legitimate expectation of privacy. That was just a motorcycle. Which is not so ironic. There's a motorcycle gunning down the road while talking about a dog sniff related to a law enforcement stop. You mean like when I was on the train that day? And then I got to finally see a white cop in Dallas while he was dinging the death of that fallen law enforcement officer in India. It just so happened to be a canine law enforcement officer. Are you impressed with yourselves? In my view, the court diminishes the Fourth Amendment's force by abandoning the secondary inquiry. Was the police action reasonably related in scope to the circumstances justifying the initial interference? A drug detection dog is an intimidating animal. It's not so true. Ernie was delightful. Ernie was a German shepherd who had also participated in competitions. He was retired. He was a retired military police dog. There's this story about Ernie being off his leash one day and a man just running across the meadow on his way to wherever he was going. But the point was, there was a chain link fence before he hit the runway, and hot on his trail was the military policeman chasing him down. Well, Ernie was off his leash, running around. I was a little girl. I was terrified. Ernie, don't chase after him. No. Oh my gosh, Ernie's barking. Oh my gosh, what if he chases it? What if he gets that guy? What if he bites him? Of course, the MPs didn't see Ernie like that. They weren't afraid that Ernie might do something that might be considered to be inappropriate, because apparently Ernie was chasing down somebody trying to deal drugs that had a few paces on the police who were chasing after him while he was trying to smuggle contraband through a military base. At least that's the story. It also correlates with the story about somebody being caught at the front gate and getting thrown through a window with an 8-ball on him. So what this tells me is that you wanted me to ride a cock rocket based on deals you hooked up when I lived on a military base as a little girl. We're going for 4th grade? Because yesterday it was 5th grade. So are you trying to get when the deal was hooked up or when it posted? I'd really like confirmation. Let me continue. The stop becomes broader, more adversarial, and in the least some cases, longer. Caballé, who, as far as troopers Gillette and Graham knew, was guilty solely of driving 6 miles per hour over the speed limit, was exposed to the embarrassment and intimidation of being investigated on a public thoroughfare for drugs. Even if the drug sniff is not characterized as a Fourth Amendment search, the sniff surely broadened the scope of the traffic violation-related seizure. The court has never removed the police action from the Fourth Amendment control on the ground that the action is well calculated to apprehend the guilty. Under today's decision, every traffic stop could become an occasion to call in the dogs to the distress and embarrassment of the law-abiding population. The dog sniff in this case, it bears emphasis, was for drug detection only. A dog sniff for explosives involving security interests not presented here would be an entirely different matter. Even if the court were to change course and characterize a dog sniff as an independent Fourth Amendment search, the immediate present danger of explosives would likely justify a bomb sniff under the special needs doctrine. Special needs doctrine. Special needs. For the reasons stated, I would hold that the police violated Caballé's Fourth Amendment rights when, without cause to suspect wrongdoing, they conducted a dog sniff of his vehicle. I would therefore affirm the judgment of the Illinois Supreme Court. The first case, under notes, in People versus Harris, the facts were as follows. I love footnotes. So, I'm sorry, I already put them in evidence. Are the keys for Daniels? You got the wrong keys, don't you?